Welcome to my channel, the Knotty Giraffe. If it's your first time here, hello. And if you're coming back, then yeah, thank you for watching again. I'm coming to you today from Kelowna, British Columbia, where I live with my two dogs in the beautiful Okanagan Valley. The date is Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. And I have a few things to talk to you about today. I've got a couple of finished objects, some works in progress, some spinning. I went to this fabulous spin-in where there was I think there was 58 of us from the surrounding area all gathered together with our spinning wheels. It was really fun. And yeah, some reading, some very exciting updates to do with my writing career. And yeah, so grab a beverage of your choice and some knitting, and let's get going. I will start off as usual with what I'm wearing. Today I've got on my Soldat in a Crop, designed by Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knits. I knit this, I guess it was a few months ago I finished it. It's the perfect spring top, I find, because it's just warm enough that it keeps the spring chill off and cool enough that when the sun comes out I've got my bare arms, so it's quite lovely. I knit it primarily in Malabrigo Arroya, I believe it is. And I followed the pattern pretty much, except for I made mine just a little bit longer. And yeah, I used some of my hand-dyed yarn in it. I did change up the color a little bit. I go into great details about it on, oh gosh, I think it's episode 9, maybe? I think it's the one that I accidentally deleted. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. It was probably my most watched episode. I think it had almost 900 views, and somehow I accidentally deleted it when I was trying to delete episode 10 when I put that up, and I'd made a mistake in it and I wanted to pull it down. I pulled down the wrong one, so yeah, that was fun. It's really fun trying to make videos when you're not professional and you only do them once a month. You kind of forget how things go, but I do this mostly as a record for myself and just if anybody else is curious as to what I'm doing. So yeah, so that is the Soldat in a Crop by Caitlin Hunter. I will start off with my finished objects, and I just realized I don't have them in front of me, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I found them. First thing I finished was a pair of socks. They are made with, I believe it was called Rose Hill. It was from a kit that I bought, a Blooming Fade kit it was called. I bought it when I was at the Vibrations Yarn Festival in Victoria this past summer. And it was, I believe there were 5 different colors that came in the package, and each one was a 50-gram ball. So I thought for some reason that they were only 20-gram balls. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. And so I ended up making my socks a little bit shorter than I normally do, just because I didn't want to run out of yarn. I played a lot of yarn chicken over the last month. Honestly, I won 2 of the battles and lost one of them, but that's coming up. Anyway, so these are knit traditional way I knit all my socks on Magic Loop 2.25 millimeter needles. Yeah, 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbing on the cuff. I always do, well, almost always do 20 rounds on the cuff. And then for these ones, I just did 40 rounds of, oh gosh, there goes my clock. honestly, I don't think I could have ever recorded an episode where I don't have a clock going off, but that means, yeah, that ring chime means that it is 1:30 in the afternoon, which makes no sense at all by the number of bells, so I'm not going to try and explain it. Anyhow, yeah, so I did 40 rounds for the leg, and then I usually do about 64 rounds after I finish the slip stitch heel, till I switch colors for the toe. So yeah, that's first finished object, plain and simple, short and sweet. Second, I did another of the Age of Brass and Steam kerchiefs. This was some yarn that I bought. So I originally bought it to put into my Forestland sweater, which I will show you when I get to Works in Progress. I was going to use it for the color of the leaves, but once I saw the two together, I was afraid I didn't think it would show up properly. And I had just finished making another Age of Brass and Steam kerchief, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I finish a pattern and I really like it and I decide to do a second one with a different yarn right away. I've done that with a few things, with sweaters and baby sweaters and hats. I've done, you know, where I just really enjoy doing a pattern and it's over and I want to keep going, so I make a second one. So yeah, so I decided to make another one of these. It's just such a pretty pattern. It's so simple. It's just, you know, make one left, make one right as you pass the center, and then you have rows of just simple eyelet, you know, knit two together, wrap it and then knit two together and repeat to get all the holes in it. And it's, yeah, so it's just it's kerchief size, so it's just meant to go, you know, under your coat or whatever. And yeah, I really like them. I thought that this would be a nice thing, a nice way to use up this skeiny yarn, because it's so pretty and so soft. I followed the pattern more or less, but as good as I am at following patterns. Oh my gosh, there goes the garbage truck. So hope you aren't hearing that. It is garbage day here in Kelowna. Anyhow, so yeah, so this was a game of yarn chicken. I haven't blocked this yet, or finished sewing in my ends, but you can see here where I lost the game of yarn chicken as I was binding off. I had that much more to go and ran out of yarn. So I'm not going to worry about it. It's probably not going to be a gift. It'll probably be one for me, and I can live with that little bit of different color on the end. I was sad though, because I came so close. And it's so good. Like, look at that. Just that much left to go and all of this. And yeah, but that's yarn chicken. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. So yeah, so that is my second finished object. I'll move on into my whips here, because I have started a DK jelly roll blanket. I have been watching people make them on YouTube for years, and I've wanted to do one. I thought about doing a fingering weight one because I have so much leftover sock yarn all the time, and but I didn't want to have a fingering weight one, so I decided I would just hold the fingering weight double and make a DK one. So so far I have got a strip that is that long. So we'll see how it goes as time progresses. But for now, I love this pattern. It's so simple, and like, I've decided to do it with 21 stitches per row. I'm following the Crazy Sock Ladies suggestion of what she does at the end of each row and how she puts them together, which I didn't bother purchasing any pattern because I could pretty well, it's not rocket science to figure out garter stitch. So I've just been using the Crazy Sock Ladies modifications, and that was really all I needed. I decided to do 21 stitches on each row, and I found a pair of these old-fashioned needles at my Fiber Arts Guild so that I could use them without tying up any of my good needles, because this is definitely going to be a long-term project. It's not something I'm going to finish quickly. So anyhow, so that is my first whip. My second whip is my gorgeous Jennifer Steingass sweater, which I will show you. I have to go get it because I didn't bring that to the table either. So back in a flash. Okay, so this is the Forestland sweater by Jennifer Steingass, and this is where I am winning the game of yarn chicken. Somebody donated a bag of 10 balls of 100 grams each, or 100 yards each ball of this beautiful alpaca, which I cannot get any more of. I've been to several yarn stores. Nobody's seen or heard of the brand before. I believe it probably came straight from Peru. So I decided I would use it. And I think I may have made the body shorter than I needed to, but it's hard to know because alpaca stretches so much when it gets blocked. I haven't blocked this or anything yet. I finished the yoke, and I am just working on the ribbing here for the first sleeve. And judging by how much yarn I have left, I'm going to win this game of yarn chicken, and I may even rip back. Do you ever have those days where you just can't talk? Anyhow, I think I may rip out the ribbing and make it a little bit longer. We'll see. I'll see how much it stretches when I block it. But yeah, this is knit on with 4mm needles. For the color work part, I used some yarn by Lang. Just a second, I'll get that too. I have a ball right behind me here. There it is. There, that was easy. Yeah, so I'm using this Lang Merino for the color work, and you can see in here how the color changes, and I just love what it's done in the sweater. I am so excited about this. I keep trying it on, and it just looks, actually, you know what? I'm going to try it on right now and show you because I'm so excited about it. It's just gorgeous. Somebody donated the yarn, like I said, to the Fiber Arts Guild, so it was free of charge for me, and it's going to be the most beautiful sweater. I think I am so excited about it, and I think it probably is long enough. Yeah, and I think it'll probably stretch maybe to about there when I block it, which I think will be perfect. So I'm very excited about it. I can't wait. I'll definitely have this finished by the time I do my monthly update at the end of April. I don't see how I could not have it finished because the sleeves are going pretty fast. And yeah, I just have about another inch to go. Yeah, about that much more to go on the ribbing, and the first sleeve will be done. So yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's such a lovely pattern, very easy to follow. It's she uses charts for all the color work. It's knit from the top down, and yeah, it's not sure what more I can say about it other than it's just well, all of Jennifer Steingass's, all of her patterns are just so beautifully written, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough. So I'm gonna take my sweater off because it looks kind of weird having, you know, one arm in, one arm out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so next WIP is really, there's not a lot to show because I only just cast these on 2 days ago, I believe. It's they're going to be fingerless mittens. I'm using up some old sock yarn. I want to use as much of it as I can before it goes into my blanket at the end. But I'm going to use this stuff. It was called Woodsy by Ginger Snap, and some of the lichen and lace. Whoops, I got a little passenger on there. The lichen and lace, it's called Black Walnut, from their sock yarn. And yeah, I'm just using my pattern that it's a free pattern I put up on Ravelry. It's I believe it's called Glenna's Fingerless or Fingering Weight Fingerless Mitts or something like that. But it's just my standard pattern that I always do my fingerless mitts with when I have leftover sock yarn, because usually you can get, depending on how big you make your socks and if you do different colored cuffs or not, you can usually get a pair of fingerless mitts out of your leftover yarn. If you have, you know, a typical 100-gram skein of sock yarn, you can usually get a pair of fingerless mitts out of what's left, if you're careful about it and if you don't mind playing yarn chicken. Oh dear. So yeah, so those are my WIPs. I have also been really busy spinning. A friend of mine that I've made through the guild has a sheep farm, so I went out to her sheep farm about 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, and I came home with a huge bag of fleece from her. I bought, it's CVM, it's called. That's the name of the sheep brand. I hadn't heard of them before, but anyway, so I have also really gotten into doing natural dyes. I went hiking, and it was right after a windstorm, and there was a whole lot of lichen on the ground. So I spent 2 days of hiking collecting lichen, and this is the first skein I did up with the yarn that I dyed with the lichen. And it's such a pretty color. It's showing fairly true actually in the camera. It's a little greener than it's showing, but it's looking more yellow than green in the camera. But it's beautiful, and the wool is very soft. I wasn't sure when I spun up the first bit of it. I wasn't sure how it was going to feel, but once I had plied it, the 2-ply got really soft, and it's just lovely. I did up some more with onion skins, and I did another batch with coffee grounds. So I've been really enjoying playing around with natural dyes. The more I learn about what goes into, you know, creating fabrics like this, the more it makes me want to use less of it and try and be a little more environmentally conscious, and use things that are dyed naturally and with natural fibers. So yeah, it's been a bit of a learning thing for me. Yeah, so that is about it for now. Oh, I forgot. Sitting right here, I did a wet felting workshop where we made bowls, and this thing is, I love this thing. It is just perfect. I keep it at my front door and use it for my sunglasses. So you can see I've got my riding glasses in here too for nighttime riding. But yeah, it was a really fun workshop run at the Fiber Arts Guild that I belong to. And yeah, I got to learn all about wet felting, and oh wow. I have a feeling that some of my family will be getting wet felted bowls for Christmas this year because they're really fun to make. They're really fun to make. So yeah, for myself, I believe if you're interested at all, I am a writer and a photographer and a stained glass artist, and I just got the amazing news this month that one of my short stories has been selected to appear in the Best Canadian Short Stories Anthology 2025, which will come out, I believe, in November of 2024. So it's the same story that won the Jacob Zilber Fiction Prize in July of 2023 and was published in Prism International magazine. So I'm really excited about that. I'm still looking for representation for the novel that I'm working on, and I have another novel that's been sitting at Breakwater Press for too long, and they're promising me a final answer soon. So fingers crossed, hopefully they will pick it up because that would be awesome. So yeah, I'm an avid reader, and you can find me on Goodreads as Giraffette. I'll put all my contact information down below, or you can find me on Instagram, which I don't use as much as I should, and on Ravely and on Goodreads. But I'm currently reading a book called What Remains of Elsie Jane, and it is the best paced, and it's just so well written. I can't stop reading it. I picked it up, I think, 3 days ago, and I'm down to the last 30 pages already. It's just flown by. It's so well written. It's just, yeah, a BC author, which I always like to support local authors, and it's always a bonus when you pick up a book to support a local author and you just fall in love with it. And this is the case. It's called What Remains of Elsie Jane, and the author's name is Chelsea Wakelin. So I can highly recommend that one. Other books I read in the past month are The Rehearsal by Eleanor Cattan, which was just absolutely brilliant. I'm on a waiting list for her book Burnham Wood right now, which is I've read. I don't know if any of you read The Illuminaires. It won the Booker Prize, I believe, quite a while ago. But she's just a brilliant author, and so while I was waiting to get Burnham Wood, I decided to read one of her older novels called The Rehearsal. And wow, it is just wonderful ride. I also read The Future by Catherine LaRue because I was trying to work my way through the Canada Reads books. And now I only have one left to go. And The Future was just weird. I'm sorry. I love Heather O'Neill. She's a brilliant writer, and she was the one championing the book. So I was very curious to read it, but it was just a little too out there for me. I don't mind. I like some speculative fiction stuff, and this one just was, it just wasn't my book. But it was still good. And then I read Coming Up for Air by Sarah Lippiger, and that was a really neat story because it's one of those multi-generational stories where you have, I think the first one is Paris in the late 1800s, and then there is a man in Norway in like 1955, and then a present day story. And you don't know how the 3 stories are all going to tie together until you get very close to the end. And it's just beautifully written, just beautiful literary fiction. Very, very, very highly recommend it. I also read, what was it called? Remarkably Bright Creatures, which was just a ray of sunshine. Fabulous, fabulous book. It's a story told about, well, from 3 different points of view. 2 of them are human, and the 3rd narrator is an octopus. And it's quirky and just absolutely delightful if you're looking for a good summer read. And my other summer read I picked up, the last one I'll talk about, I read a lot this month, was called Recipe for a Good Life, and that's by Leslie Crew. Her book, The Spoon Stealers, I believe it was shortlisted for the Giller or the Governor General's Award. It was one of the Canadian awards she was shortlisted for. So I read that one and enjoyed it, and I thought I would try Recipe for a Good Life. And it's not deep literary fiction. It's not heavy commercialized either. It's more of an upmarket fiction is what you would call it. And but it's just so, honestly, her outlook on people, it's like she manages to see the good in everybody, and it's just a real feel good. If you need a pick-me-up and a good summer read, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting Recipe for a Good Life by Leslie Crew. So that's it. I believe that was all I wanted to talk about this month. Hopefully when I am back next month, I will have my Forestland sweater on, even if briefly, just to show you, because it should be good and hot by the end of May. And I will have finally cast on my flower top tank, which I had planned on casting on this month, but well, you know how it is. Sometimes plans change. And I'm okay with that. I hope you're okay with that too. Anyway, have a good month of May.